So,
Jacob was
So Jacob
just
Brody.
started. It was a wonderful experience because it was a brand new institute. And I could walk into Bob Butler's office, who was the director of the whole thing. I could just walk down the hall and walk right into his office if I wanted something. And it was fantastic because today, well, of course, the other institute, you could never have done anything in the Heart Institute like that, or the Cancer Institute, no way. But we were brand new, and we were putting the whole thing together. It was a wonderful experience, and so Jacob said to me, "What do you want to do?" And he had decided, because he was a very good friend of Manning Findley's, and Manning told him he needed a population study of old people, because at that time, even the National Center for Health Statistics did not acquire data for people over 65. So Jacob told me, "Well, we're going to have this population." So I said, "All right." Didn't appeal to me at all because it didn't have any excitement, anything. It was just going out, surveying, make cross-sectional study of the people over 65. So what do you want? I said, "Well, I'll do that, but what do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I want to do," and I tried to do this in the short time I was at the National Center for Health Statistics, and my answer was, "We never did that." So I get over there and I said, "What I want to do is I want to go find the people that we interviewed and examined in the first health and nutrition examination survey, which was a true representative sample of the United States population. And I wanted to do a prospective study. I wanted to follow what had happened to them. And I wanted to do the ones that had been 55 at the time of that study, because it was 10 years. 55 years old, it was 10 years old. Okay. So, Jenkins said, "Okay." And the thing is that the National Center for Health Statistics holds the identifiers. Whatever, just anyway, so I talked to Jack Feldman, who was head of analysis, and he liked the idea very much. And Dorothy Rice was the director of NCHS, and he went to her and
let's see who it is.
So he went to her, and in the meantime, Manning finally told it was a good idea, but he was wrapped up in the Framingham study, and he knew if NIH put money into this one, then we can be putting into the Framingham study.
Oh, goodness.
So anyway, I don't blame him. So anyway, I said to Jack Feldman that I won't do it unless your department is the department we collaborate with, not the others. And he said, "Okay." So and then right about that time, the Congress criticized NIH for not doing more on nutrition. And so the Cancer Institute came to us and said, "Can we do this study with you?" And we said, "Sure, if you pay for it." And she gave us some money. And it ended up that Jack and I went around to all the institutes and collected money so we could get this thing off the ground. And at that time, $5 million was a lot, but we were able to get $5 million to do this, and it was fantastic. I thought I knew epidemiology inside and out, but I learned even more. You learn epidemiology by doing it, and so I had that and get off the ground, and we published and everything. They're still publishing. They're still using that data.
Wow.
And so now NCHS now does follow-ups to their studies. Now they do.
Right.
They build in a follow-up now to their studies.
But yours was the first.
Oh yes, they wouldn't even think that way at first. We've never done it that way before. So anyway, but that was a real thing.
So it was at NCHS that you met Bill Jenkins.
It
Was at NCHS that you met Bill Jenkins?
No, I met him here when he was a student.
Oh, so let's
Yeah.
see. When was he a
When
student?
he was a student. Yeah, I knew when he was a student.
But then he went to. But wait a minute. He came to UNC as a student after you or your husband were.
No, I think he came while I was here. I think so. I think he was here. Yeah.
But he says that it was your husband, I guess, who encouraged him to come to Chapel Hill.
Well, probably. See, my husband was in Washington at the time. This was before we married. And so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
My husband was at Georgetown.
And he
I
said.
was here, and then when I married, then I went to Washington, and in the meantime, Bill, I think, came down.
Yes, by then Bill was down here. That's right. The way Bill described it, if I remember correctly, your husband said to talk to you. He said that Bill should call you.
Probably, I don't know.
And you.
We sent people back and forth all the time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's still very grateful about that.
My husband was a very special person. He really was.
Would you like to tell me about him?
Oh, dear.
I think I've met him, but.
No, he did fantastic things. And yet he was very, what's the word, he takes no credit for himself. And he did so much, but he never took any credit. And he always found jobs, found positions for people. He always would give his faculty trips that he had been invited to go on. He was completely unselfish, and also initiated things that he started an HMO when the health maintenance organizations were good. They were very good. They were started as preventive, emphasizing on prevention of disease, and they figured that if they could get good habits, then they'd have less patients to have to take care of. It's a good idea. I mean, they took whole families, and they took care of whole families, and they do. Okay, so he started. He had five clinics around DC and Northern Virginia and Maryland. Yeah. And then the insurance companies came in and realized it was good business.
So he was the chair of the department, the family medicine department at Georgetown.
Started out as community medicine, then he initiated family medicine.
And then, what year did you come back here? Did he retire?
Oh, he retired in 90. I retired in 91, and we started building the house in 90. It took a year to build it. I went down to working 3 days a week I know, 4 days a week, 4 days a week. And we would come down here, no, I'm sorry, I went on three-fourths time,
Mhm.
three-fourths time, that's what I did. And we would spend 1 week every month down here, checking the house.
Mhm.
So,
And so when you moved down here, did you connect again with the Department of Epidemiology?
yeah, they were very nice, they opened their arms. It was a nice experience because, and you know this too, I'm sure, is that for the first time when I had doctoral students, that's what I really took on, was doctoral students, mentoring doctoral students. The first time I had all the time in the world to read their materials. And you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, and so it was, I really would feel satisfied when I met with them. Well, yeah.
So how many doctoral students did you take on after you came back here?
Well, not too many. Here, when I came back, not too many. And one very successful one. She won the epidemiology, the SER award for students, the best. She won that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it was that one she won. She won a top dissertation award. I think it was that one. I'm not. It may have been another organization, but she got. Yeah.
Do you remember any of the students? Do you remember the names of any of the students that you had? It's been a while.
One was Mary Castle, I remember. She wasn't the one that won the award. She was good too. She was good too. And I can't remember.
In principle, all this information is available to me somehow. But in principle, all this information should be available to me through the department's records, but I'm not sure what shape the
I don't
department's
know.
records are
I
in.
doubt it. I doubt if they have names of all those people.
Well,
And
I
they
guess you-
certainly don't know who was on their committees. I know that. They don't know that.
Hmm. So you mentioned SER just now, and that reminded me, I wanted to ask you, you were around, I mean, you were in the UNC Epi department at the time that SER was created?
I went to the first meeting, and it was in a conference room at Johns Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
Just a round table conference room. And the second year was here in Chapel Hill.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that. Do you remember what year that was? Can you?
No, I don't remember what it was.
Well, I can look up when they were founded. So where was it at UNC when it was held that year?
Oh.
Do you remember? Was it in Rosenau? Or?
It was in Memorial Hall, and it wasn't air conditioned.
Oh, wait a minute.
And it was summertime.
That was the second?
I think it was the second one.
Because
no more than the second or third. It was right after the beginning.
Because my second son was born in 1985, and that was the year that Caroline Becker organized
Okay,
SER
and that was,
in Memorial Hall.
That was it.
But SER had been going on for years by then.
I don't think so.
Sure, because I attended
Okay.
SER in 19.
Well, then maybe
80.
we had one before that.
Well, that's what I'm wondering if there was.
We may have had one in Carolina, and I can't, but we had one shortly because
Shortly
I
after
remember,
it was created.
I remember sitting around after the first one, and everybody was saying, "Oh, it's springtime. We want to know at Chapel Hill. We've heard how beautiful Chapel Hill is in the spring. We want to come to Chapel Hill."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chapel Hill.
So I have to find out where that was held.
Yeah.
Were you involved in helping to organize it?
No.
Or do you know who was? There must have been a local host.
Well, I do remember one thing. That was really funny. We took the school bus, in fact, the university didn't have beautiful buses the way we transport all our teams around and everything. We had a bus that was painted Carolina blue. It was an old school bus that was painted Carolina blue. And it had gone under a bridge one time, so it had a dent on the top of it. That's true. So we take the bus out to the airport to meet some of these people. At that time, you know, it wasn't great shock because all the universities weren't equipped the way that they are.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think back at that,
Do you remember which faculty were involved in organizing the meeting or being the
No,
local
I don't.
hosts?
Yeah, that was funny. There was one woman, epidemiologist, I think she was from Hopkins, and she always took her dog everywhere she went. So here she gets off the plane with this dog, her mom, and getting on the bus. That was so funny. We laughed about that for years after that. We did. It was funny.
So, I haven't heard too much about department staff.
About what?
The department staff. Do you remember any of the staff members from that era when you were on the faculty
Yeah.
or as a student stand out in your mind?
Yeah, sure do. There were 2 secretaries in the front office. I doubt if she's still alive. John Castle's secretary. Well, they were both wonderful people, both very
Now,
good.
Phyllis Johnson, I don't know when she arrived. She was out with her older
This was
secretary.
her- This was a woman who lived up in the Lake Forest. I can't remember, but let's see her. And then John Fulton had a secretary.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in the front office, and they hired a assistant to them.
Was Vi Crawl?
She's Vi Carl was John Castle's secretary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Vi Carl, she was there.
Because she became a business manager for the department
Yeah.
years
yeah,
later.
Yeah, she's a lovely person.
Mm-hmm.
But then they had also a group in that. Well, you know, we had everything was punch cards.
Mm-hmm.
So we had all this equipment of wiring punch cards and putting them through machines and coming out with tables. So they had a whole crew in there. A lot of them were students that they hired.
Mm-hmm. Was Robert Midhour there then?
Now,
He later ran.
you know who was Jim? He's at the School of Dentistry. You know, he's an epidemiologist at the School of Dentistry.
Jim Fletcher?
No. I run into him every once in a
Oh,
while.
now is an epidemiologist at the School of Dentistry. You
Mhm. He was a student then. He was a student. He came in. That's how he got into epidemiology.
Mm.
Jim, oh God, big heavy fellow.
Oh, Jim Beck?
Jim Beck. He was a student. Yeah, undergraduate.
Uh-huh. Oh!
Undergraduate student. Undergraduate. Yeah. See, they came and did that machine work, and so they held it. They had a cruise on them. Yeah, he was one. And Nero was there. Joe
Heiss?
which was Joe Moretti then. Her name was Joe Moretti.
Moretti?
Moretti.
Moretti.
M-E-A-T.
Oh!
M-E-A-T-R-Y.
Moretti, yes. I do remember having seen that, though it's been a while since I...
Anyway, she was in that room.
And Marilyn Knowles, was she there then?
She came afterwards.
Uh-huh.
She wasn't there with all these students, these undergraduates. She came afterwards. She came when they were writing programs,
Mm-hmm.
not punching cards. Yeah. These people were punching cards and checking their punchings. They did them twice to be sure they were.
So where were the punching machines? I don't remember. They weren't there when I got there.
No, they probably all gone. I don't know.
Well, they're gone now for
Yeah,
sure. But
probably,
do you remember what they were on that same hallway with
Oh yeah,
the
they
faculty
were across,
offices?
they were right across from my office and Kaplan's office, and there was another doctor. Oh God. Yeah. Hold on, because this is important. He was a fellow from England that came over. He was a character unto himself. And I know him. I mean, Bob knew him separately from me, so we were married.
You don't mean Tony McMichael, do you?
No.
No.
No. He went to Tulane and became chairman of epidemiology.
Mm.
But he was an older man. He was very influential. influential, and he did a lot of consulting for the pharmaceutical companies.
I can look him up if he was chair at Tulane, but what was he doing in our epi department at UNC?
Oh, he was a good friend of Joan Castle's, and he was an epidemiologist. He was an epidemiologist, yeah. But he had his own courses too. He taught infectious disease.
Oh.
God, what's his name? I'm sure he's not around now. But isn't that awful?
Cece.
Because I really did know him. In fact, we went over that, 7 years after we were married, we went to an international epidemiology meeting, and it was in Edinburgh. And he was there, and he insisted that we come and stay with him for a night in Glasgow. That's where he was at that time.
Well, maybe we'll come to you later.
He'll come to me, and that one will come back.
Okay.
Because that one is reasons enough, yeah.
Was there a student services manager or a registrar type person? Joyce Allen came later, but
I think there was. Was there somebody that managed the students?
I mean, not when you had 4, but when the numbers got up.
I'm trying to think, could be. Yeah. I'm not sure how far back. When we only had 3 or 4 students, they didn't need a student manager.
Right.
But
when you were on the faculty, there must have been a fair number of students. I mean,
not a whole lot.
there were 20 in my entering class in 77. So in 75 and 6.
I think I mean, I'm trying to think when I became a faculty member how many there were. I don't think there were more than 12. I don't think so. I know in that student room we got up to 8. But then I think they ran out of space. And people didn't have cubicles anymore.
There was a big round table, or was there?
Yeah, right.
We had that when I was there.
Well, this was on the 2nd floor, yeah.
So let me ask you, I don't know how much more time you have for me, but I have a couple of other things I wanted to ask you about. One is, so you've watched the department from inside, and then you kind of knew it existed when you were up in Washington, in Bethesda, kind of looking at it from afar, and then you've been back here. And over the span of time, what things about the department stand out in your mind? Are there any things in terms of what its research accomplishments have been, or its other special aspects?
Well, it certainly became more global, it became more broad. There was no heavy emphasis in one disease anymore. It was very broad. In fact, they combined it with parasitology, which really changed it. That really, when I came back, and it was parasitology was probably one of the most academic, high-level departments in the school because of Wash and the faculty. The faculty was outstanding. And so when they combined with that it broadened the expertise of the students. It changed their interests. We all of a sudden had infectious disease. There was no one even taught a thing about infectious disease before that. Well, there weren't any major infectious diseases to even teach. I mean, you would teach a past history if you were teaching. And so
The good old days, when you didn't have AIDS, HIV.
Cholera. And
But I mean, in terms of what the department was known for, if people asked you when you were at NIA, for example, so what is the UNC department known for? What would you send people there for?
I don't think it's that way anymore. I really don't. I mean, I think most, I really don't know. I can't answer that because, you know, we grew up with its social psychological additions, which the other departments originally didn't have. There's no such thing at Harvard, definitely no such thing. And I think they're now, I know Harvard has people up there now, and so I know they do now. It's changed. I think they've all broadened, so I don't think there's so many. There may be, but I haven't done much. You know, to be honest with you, when I retired, I didn't give up epidemiology because I really had a wonderful time mentoring those students, but I gradually got out of it, and I have now completely wrapped up in the fine arts.